Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to my radio show. I am Rick Garcia, and I hope everybody's got some fun stuff to do this weekend. Hi, Jesse. How are you?
Hi, I'm great.
Patrick, you guys do anything fun? What are you guys doing?
I mean, I've been working. I got to watch the Super Bowl last week, so that was fun.
Me too, yeah.
I'm going to the Olympic qualifiers this weekend.
Hey!
USA.
Which sport?
Soccer.
Soccer, of course.
Of course.
Excellent.
Good job.
Welcome to my radio show. I'm Rick Garcia. You are listening to us on AM 1220 and 98.1 FM. And you can see us also on Facebook Live. Hi, everybody, at KHTS Radio. And other places you can find the show. My radio show is also on our YouTube channel at KHTS, the My Radio Show podcast, your KHTS radio app, which I highly recommend. You can tell people all over the country or world if they want to download the app for free, they can listen to our show. And you can find us at hometownstation.com. If you want to be part of the show, you can call us 661-298-5487 is the number. We'll talk sports, pop culture, entertainment with you. And, of course, you can post us, as we said, at KHTS Radio on Facebook Live. My headlines. Time for My Headlines, brought to you by Frontier Toyota. The Dodgers' blockbuster trade with Boston for outfielder Mookie Betts and pitcher David Price hit a snag. L.A. was sending Alex Verdugo to the Red Sox and trading pitcher Kenta Maeda to Minnesota. The Twins were going to send a pitching prospect to Boston. The health of one of the players apparently is now in question. ESPN is reporting, though, that the deal will likely go through. The Dodgers are also about to send outfielder Jock Peterson and pitcher Ross Stripling to the Angels in return for infielder Luis Renifio, and that deal is contingent on the Dodgers-Red Sox trade going through. The Clippers have acquired forward Marcus Morris and guard Isaiah Thomas in a three-team deal involving New York and Washington. The Clippers parted ways with Mo Harkless and Jerome Robinson. The Lakers were quiet at the NBA trading deadline. Meantime, they hosted Houston last night. Russell Westbrook poured in 41 points, and the Rockets beat the Lakers 121-111. Anthony Davis had 32 for L.A. A little later, we're going to be joined by former Laker Byron Scott, who will give us his thoughts on the Lakers and Clippers at the NBA trading deadline and what they did or didn't do. Plus, we're going to talk to Byron about his relationship with Kobe, who he both coached and played with, which is pretty rare. All right, let's talk about this proposed trade between the Dodgers and the Boston Red Sox. A blockbuster deal. People, you think the Dodgers, by the way, some folks felt the Dodgers could wind up in the World Series this year without making that deal.
Right.
I think after making that deal, I mean, the odds got to be in their favor.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you traded for Mookie Betts, who was on the other side of the league, was an MVP candidate and, won a World Series with them a couple years ago. He's like, now you pair him up with Cody Bellinger, and then you got Muncy. Like, it's just, you got hitters galore.
No, there a lot of hitting.
Yeah.
They bring over David Price, who's a pitcher who's, I think, well past his prime. They took Price on because this was a way to help Boston with some of their financial restrictions. So they take on some of that salary. They're going to make Boston take part of that salary as well.
Smart.
If the deal goes away.
Yeah.
I think it goes through. The Dodgers do give up, I think, a really good young outfielder in Alex Verdugo.
Yeah.
I think he's got lots of potential. Question is, will he be a star? We don't know.
Yeah.
We do know that Mookie Betts is a star.
Oh, bona fide.
Slugger. And I think what Patty was saying, just offsetting all of our left-handed hitters to have that right-handed hitter will be great.
And that's something that they historically have had trouble hitting left-handed hitting. Now, part of the deal, too, it's interesting because it's like a chain reaction or a domino effect with this team. They're making so many deals right now. There are so many moving parts to all of this. Verdugo, again, would go to the Red Sox. But the Dodgers would also part way with Kenta Maeda, who's an innings eater on the pitching mound. He winds up going to Minnesota if this deal goes through. And what some people think might be the holdup is the Twins were sending a prospect by the name of Brusdar Graterol, who's, I guess, a 21-year-old hard-throwing right-hander who underwent Tommy John surgery and missed most of last season. But we know that guys can bounce back from that in this day and age. There are some theories that maybe the Red Sox are holding out for some better players now. That they caught a lot of flack when it was reported this deal was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of understand it because in all likelihood, it's just they think it's a salary dump. It's what it feels like because you're trading Mookie Betts, who is Like that's your franchise guy. You trade him for Verdugo's good. Don't get me wrong. It sucks seeing him go, but you're not getting like quite the salary for Mookie Betts in my eyes.
Okay, are we all Dodger fans? Are you a Dodger fan?
Oh, is there any other one?
Oh, come on.
Who's your favorite player on the team?
Corey Seager.
Okay, so here's what I love about the Dodgers: the young base of players, which is Seager, Bellinger. They got Gavin Lux coming up this year, who they did not want to trade in the offseason. He'll probably play second base.
Probably.
Muncy will likely move over to first base. This is a heck of a lineup.
Oh, yeah.
A heck of a lineup. Will Smith will catch. He's another young player.
I forgot about him. That's right.
So you got a lot of wonderfully young talent, and then you sprinkle in. You got Justin Turner.
Yep.
And Muncy's a little longer in the tooth, even though he kind of came into his prime a little bit late in his baseball life.
Yeah.
So you've got a good balance of veterans and young guys.
Yeah, and another thing I really like about this trade too, Rick, is they didn't give up any pitching prospects. Like no May, no Gonsolin, of course not Buehler. Like none of like the big time pitchers were involved in this trade, which was scaring me because that's what I thought was going to happen.
Well, I agree because now it comes down to pitching for them.
Yes.
We know it's all going to come. If this deal goes through, and I think it will, it's all going to come down to their pitching.
Oh, don't get me started on the pitching. I feel like pitching has done us dirty the past couple World Series, so I hope that we can really bounce back this year.
Well, now that we know that the other team knew what the pitchers were coming, right? I mean, think about poor Kershaw. If it is true that Houston knew what pitchers were coming, well, I mean, in Boston as well.
Yeah.
Does it change Clayton Kershaw's legacy? He's historically done poorly in postseason, been great during the regular season.
Yeah.
And he's really a number 2 or 3 pitcher in his career. Walker Buehler is their ace right now.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think this changes how we think of Clayton Kershaw?
For better?
For better.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think so because now we know that it's not necessarily him and technology wasn't on his side.
No.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt with those last two, like, because he has had, like, prior to that, he has had, bad postseasons. But because of that, I'll give him a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt. I'll think, because he got nailed on a lot of hits in those World Series. So it's like, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. So he's fine.
So you slide out, if you get rid of Maeda, again, who was an innings eater and really their best guy out of the bullpen last year during playoffs. You get rid of Ross Stripling, who was a young up-and-coming potential starter.
Right.
Your starting rotation is Buehler, Kershaw, Price.
Yep.
And now you have to bring in the kids. So maybe it's Urias, who is somebody who they think is ready for the starting lineup. May and Gonsolin will be treated the way they treated Urias in that they'll come in and spot start. So they'll keep them back in the minors for maybe a month, and they'll bring them up for a couple of starts, and then they'll send them back. Because you want to do that slowly with the younger guys so that they have an arm left at the end of the season.
They also have Alex Wood, who they signed like a couple weeks ago. Like they brought him back from free agency. So it's going to be interesting where they put him in. If he's
another innings eater,
an innings eater,
He was hurt last season, I think, with Atlanta.
Was he Cincinnati or Atlanta?
I can't remember. They just got him in that deal. And so that will help.
Yes.
And you need lots of pitching.
Yes.
You can't just have 5 starters. You need 10 guys because somebody's going to have a sore shoulder, a sore elbow at some point. And the way teams have figured it out is we're going to put a guy on the injured list for 10 days. And that's basically a day of rest is what it is. It's 10 days of rest.
Right.
So that they can have these guys fresh by the end of the season. Now, one of their more popular players, though, may be departing as a result of this. See, Jesse, you don't like it. You're a Jock Peterson fan, right?
Yeah, well, and it's like, granted, we're in different divisions, the Angels and the Dodgers, but come on, like the Freeway Series were rivals. You can't trade to the Angels.
No. Well, I mean, the good news is you trade them out of the National League.
That's true.
Jock Peterson, I don't think ever has realized his full potential. I think they thought this guy was going to be a guy who could maybe hit for average as well as power. He's feast or famine. He can hit the ball a mile 1 minute, and then he'll strike out 4 times. So he would go to the Angels if the Red Sox deal happens, along with another pitcher who ate up innings for them, Ross Stripling, and they get another infielder, and they have millions of those guys that are like utility infielders.
Yeah.
But Peterson, a popular player, and wasn't his sister a pro soccer player? Or
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
I think she even might have played on a local the local semi-pro team. I think.
I'm gonna have to look that up. Cool.
You guys have to check my work on that. All right, Super Bowl is over. Listen.
Yes.
I know this was it seems like a long time ago. When you think less than a week, right?
Yeah.
But when you think of news cycles, I mean, so much happens between now and then. Did you guys like the game?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, the Chiefs just never disappoint.
Nope.
I kept telling people, this just shows you how wrong I am about most things. I kept telling people, I said, if the Chiefs get behind in the game like they did against Houston and Tennessee, they're not going to win.
Right.
Because San Francisco is not Houston or Tennessee.
Their
defense is so much better. They had Mahomes running all over the place. I mean, he was scrambling for his life, and they did it again.
I was opposite. I'm like, oh, they got this. Like, they've done it twice before. They could do it a third time.
I'm with Rick because the second I saw that second pick with less than 10 minutes in the fourth quarter, after his second pick, Pat Mahomes, I was like, it's over. Like, that's it. And I was wrong, too.
The Chiefs win this Super Bowl 54, 31-20, their first Super Bowl victory in 50 years. I mean, it was really a sight to see. So much better than the Super Bowl that my team played in a year before. The Rams in New England. It was all horrible. Not just because of the outcome. It was just a bad game. It was all defense. I mean, it was like a heavyweight fight where nobody gets knocked out. In that regard, it's not as much fun. Mm-hmm. But this was a fun Super Bowl. And the MVP, Patrick Mahomes, who I think is no question, is a lot of people already want to put him up there with Brady and Breeze and guys like that. I can't, Rodgers even. I can't say that yet.
Not yet.
I think he is on his way. There's no doubt about it. He's a winner. He is the players love playing with him and rallying around him. You can't put him next to the GOAT yet. And that's just a respect thing out of the guys who've been there before him. I wouldn't have said that about Brady. I think it took 5 Super Bowls before I said, okay, now we can say Brady's up there with Montana. Sure. Yeah. So I think you got to be careful. It's one Super Bowl. There are a lot of Eli Manning won 2, right? Are we going to say he's better than Manning? Well, you probably would look at him and say athletically he is, but let's see how his career progresses. I think he's fantastic. What I love about him, though, he's a classy kid. He gets it. He's smart. And one of the first things he did after they won the Super Bowl was look for his dad.
Oh, look at my dad real quick. We did it, baby. We did it. I love you. It's amazing. I gotta get up and love you.
Okay, who's not choked up about that?
I just have chills.
Father and son. His dad was a pro baseball player, and was a pitcher, and so his dad's been around the block. He's been through. He knows what this stuff's like with his son, and even then, it doesn't matter. And that's your kid out there, right? He must have been in heaven for that.
Yeah.
Did you guys enjoy the commercials this year?
Oh,
I did. Yeah.
They did great.
Yeah, it was so funny.
All of them. I think overall they were better commercials than in the past couple of seasons. I don't mean that there was any one better than last year or the year before. I just mean that there were the multitude of them.
Yeah.
The marketing was wonderful. We're going to play for you. Leave our mics open for this, Patrick. We're going to play for you my favorite, which is being voted as one of the favorites. This is the Rocket Mortgage commercial and starring Jason Momoa.
What does home mean to me? It's my sanctuary. It's the one place I can let my guard down.
Now, can you pause it for a second, or does it start all over?
I could pause it. Yeah.
Okay, so let's pause it. I want to set it up a little better. You see Jason Momoa. He's avoiding the paparazzi. And again, I realize there's a radio. And you know how big and muscular Momoa is.
Right.
And then little by little, as he's talking to you, he starts tearing off his muscles. You don't see blood or anything like that. It's almost like they're Velcroed on. Go ahead, Patrick.
Just kick back and be totally comfortable in my own skin.
He's taking his muscles off.
Rocket Mortgage understands that home is where I can be myself.
No more biceps. No more big shoulders.
That feels pretty darn good. Oh.
And he takes off a wig. So he's this bald, thin-looking nerd, right?
It's like
I thought it was hilarious, but apparently,
Okay, all right. Good job.
but a lot of people apparently were like turned off by that. They thought it was so weird.
Oh, really?
that's hilarious.
It's a joke, people. I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, I thought it was so funny.
So you think the studly looking, he's Aquaman, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he's a skinny little nerd.
Turns into like Gollum from like Lord of the Rings.
I thought that was my favorite. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I had did you guys like that one?
Oh,
I
yeah.
love that one. Yes.
Here was this one might have been 1A for me. Let's play the music, Maestro. Okay. This is Lil Nas X and Sam Elliott, the actor. And it's the Doritos commercial where they did the dance off. Did you guys?
Yeah.
I saw
Oh my gosh. It was, I thought, do you remember that?
Oh no, I like that. That was a good commercial. I like Sam Elliott's mustache was doing like a whole like little wave.
Doing the worm. And
Doing the worm.
they got the horse to do some dances. So it was a dance off with old Sam Elliott, a wonderful actor who always plays the crusty old cowboy.
Yep. Oh, totally.
And Lil Nas, who's blowing up, and really a neat song.
It's funny, yeah.
So that was my second. We'll leave the music running when we talk about the other ones. There was Alexa.
Mm-hmm.
That was Ellen DeGeneres and the Portia de Rossi.
Right.
Which they kind of go back in time. But what do people do before Alexis?
Yeah.
Alexis, light the fireplace or whatever, and some girl named Alexis goes over and lights it.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you guys have a favorite?
I did.
What was your favorite?
What about yours?
My favorite was actually the more emotional one, the Google Loretto one.
Aw.
That one made me cry. So it's
Aw.
talking about like, Alexa, remind me about, and then some trait about his wife that
The
had passed
husband,
and I'm
the
like,
memories.
yeah, and
Oh
I'm
my
bawling, and there's
Aw.
like real footage of Loretta and the
His
husband,
wife.
and
Yeah.
it's just touching.
Oh, okay.
Mine was the one with the football kid where he's like, just running with the ball through towns and stadiums and like, and you're seeing like various cities where Aaron Donald, I saw Derwin James, Jalen
Yeah.
Ramsey, I saw some like I don't remember exactly every single one, but like he's going through every single football team basically, like, hey yo kid, catch, and there's like, and all of a sudden he runs out onto the field and he's actually in the Super Bowl. Like,
Oh.
why? It's like
Oh,
That was a
actually
good
love
live.
commercial. That was cool.
That was so cool.
I didn't remember that one. That
That was like
sounds
right at the
awesome.
beginning.
A couple of the others, Mountain Dew, Zero Sugar. That was based on The Shining theme, the movie
Yeah.
with Bryan Cranston and Tracy Ross. There was a Snickers Fix the World. Tide, the Super Bowl. Charlie Day was funny. Microsoft, which is the Be the One, Katie Sowers, the first NFL female coach, and then Portia, the Heist, were among a lot of folks' favorites. So
Yeah, those are good.
those are
They
some good
just
ones.
never disappoint.
They never
they don't.
do.
All right, coming up, after they swap jerseys at the Super Bowl, this NFL star wants to give it back. Plus, Super Bowl halftime performers are usually huge stars. Wait until you hear how much they make for that big gig. And we're going to give away some free stuff. You're listening to my radio show with Rick Garcia.
Rick's Replay.
The Lakers hosted Houston last night. The Rockets didn't start a player over 6 feet 6 inches tall, but they went on a 16-3 run late in the game. Russell Westbrook scored 41 points. Anthony Davis had 32 points, 13 rebounds for the Lakers, but it wasn't enough as the Rockets beat the Lakers 121-111. The Lakers are at Golden State tomorrow night, 5:30 tip-off on Spectrum Sports Net.
Made a couple big shots. We had a couple turnovers, and they got a couple stops. When the game was going back and forth, so allowed them to kind of take that back and forth thing, and they kind of took control like in the last 3 minutes. You just got to fly around. You got to communicate. James is going to create a lot of eyes on him because of what he's doing this year as far as scoring the basketball. But Russ, definitely. Did what Russ is capable of doing, and we've seen it a lot throughout his career. He was wonderful tonight.
That was LeBron James talking about chasing James Harden and Russell Westbrook around the court all night long. Lakers quiet at the NBA trading deadline, and in the 2 o'clock hour, we're going to be joined by Byron Scott, who we're going to talk about the moves that the Lakers did or didn't make, but we're also going to talk about Kobe, who Byron, of course, coached and played with. So I'm looking forward to seeing Byron. It's going to be some unusual circumstances, but we look forward to that in the next hour.
News to me.
Okay, after football games these days, I guess they probably do it in most sports now. You'll see players do jersey exchanges.
Yeah.
Right? So they play a game, And sometimes they'll even sign the jersey. They'll hand it to their counterpart. It's really a big deal if you can get Tom Brady's jersey or Drew Brees or somebody. But the younger guys do it too, because you never know when those guys might develop into a big superstar someday. After the Super Bowl, 49ers young and talented running back Raheem Mostert swapped jerseys with Damian Williams, who was the young running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. He had 133 yards in that and 2 touchdowns in the Chiefs' victory. So they swapped jerseys.
Yeah.
2 running backs, mutual admiration. They care a lot about each other. They swapped the jerseys. And later on, I guess Williams was on Jimmy Kimmel Live. And Kimmel said, that's a valuable jersey you have. And Williams said, my mom said the same thing. Where's your jersey, son? So I guess Mostert heard that maybe Williams, since it was a Super Bowl jersey and not just a regular season game, Mostert's going to give him the jersey back.
Yeah.
Would you give it back? Would you do that?
I think I would. I always wonder when I see them do jersey swaps, like, do they actually keep it? Because if I were an athlete, I'd want my jersey that I won the Super Bowl in.
Right.
So I think it's neat that he's giving it back.
I think he probably got caught up in the moment. But the regular season jersey, you swap it. What do they do with it? They're going to put it in a frame? Do you give it to charity? I hope they don't sell them.
No, from what I've seen on a couple of superstars, that they'll post on Twitter or Instagram, like Odell Beckham. In one case, I saw him. Of all the jerseys that he swapped with, he has them in his house, all literally in just a frame on his wall.
Glass,
you just see a whole man cave. I've seen Stephon Diggs' jersey, Tom Brady's jersey. It's so many, just everywhere throughout the whole room.
Like a Hall of Fame kind of.
Yeah, Hall of Fame
yeah.
thing. Yeah, that's cool.
Complaining at the Super Bowl, that's not unusual. I've covered lots of Super Bowls. From a working standpoint, if you're, when I was in television news, man, it's so much work. You're working morning, noon, and night to be out there. The game, believe it or not, is the only time you get to rest, and you can only rest part of the game because everybody's calling you back at the station to get this or get that.
Yeah.
When you get to actually go as a fan, they're cool. But a lot of fans were unhappy with what they call the ridiculous concession prices. Okay?
Really?
Ridiculous. Now, tell me if these prices bother you too much. In LA, we generally have higher priced everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So our concession prices for local games can be expensive. According to the LA Times, though, buckets of popcorn were going for, what would be too expensive, Jesse, for you?
Oh, above $12?
Yeah, roughly. Yeah.
$15.
Oh, come on.
$15 for a bucket of popcorn.
Really?
How about beer? How much would you pay for a beer, Patrick? What's your cap on beer for beer prices?
A good beer, I wouldn't really go anywhere higher than $15 on
Yeah,
that.
17.
Oh,
For a
gosh.
large Bud Light was $17. How about nachos?
like
What would you pay for
$10.
That should be a $10 thing.
Come
Yeah.
on, you guys, $16.
Oh my God!
Do they have meat
Miami.
on them?
They do
They have gold in
chicken or
it too.
anything? Yeah.
They were offering something called cheese curds. Cheese curds. How much do you think those were?
$7, $8?
No, 13, 14.
$19.
For cheese curds?
Jeez.
What are cheese curds?
Those are so popular in Iowa where I went to school. It's basically like deep fried breaded cheese.
Oh,
yeah.
my God.
Ooh, that
I should
sounds
have known that.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
hungry.
sounds good. So we told you Bud Light would cost you $17, a large Bud Light at the Super Bowl. The average price of beer at an NFL stadium in 2019 was $8.50.
Huh.
$8.50. So that was expensive, and I think Miami probably got the price. Did you guys like the halftime show?
I did. I thought it was entertaining.
Yeah, I thought they came. They did their job. I was entertained.
They did their job.
Like,
Yeah.
I thought J-Lo and Shakira were very entertaining. I love the Latin theme to that. The dancing was incredible. The costumes were wonderful.
Mhm.
I consider J-Lo more of an entertainer than a
Yes.
singer,
Mhm.
and that's why she has the routines that she has. I've seen her in Vegas too. She puts on a good show. But I already told you this. I guess I can't ask you to take a guess how much they got paid. But the halftime performers nowadays get paid zero. They make nothing for doing the halftime shows.
Yeah.
The only thing that's paid for is the NFL will pay for performance-related expenses, which are stage setups, pyrotechnics, and travel. And the NFL apparently has been considering for a little while charging the artists to perform. What do you think about that?
I get not getting paid
Yeah.
because they're getting paid in publicity and like you were talking about afterwards, a lot of times their songs become number one again and that sort of thing. But to pay as J-Lo, like if I had to pay to perform, that's odd.
That is odd. It almost feels like it's,
so what they say is the increase in ticket sales and tour sales and music purchases skyrockets after an act performs at the Super Bowl. So the NFL doesn't feel bad about it. Now, they're a multi-billion-dollar industry themselves. They're not suffering. These artists that want to play the gig, they're not suffering either. And even if they charged, one of these artists, in the hundreds of thousands of dollar range or $100,000 even, maybe they still make out like bandits. I don't know.
That's true.
Well, there you have it.
Free stuff.
All right, time to give away some free stuff. The first person to call 661-298-5487 or messages us on Facebook Live at KHTS Radio with the right answer to my question will win a $25 gift card from Hanu Coffee. All right, recently LeBron James passed this Laker on the NBA career scoring list to move into third place. Who did he pass? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, or Jack Nicholson? Recently, LeBron James passed this Laker on the NBA career scoring list to move into third place. Who did he pass? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, or Jack Nicholson? All right, call us first at 661-298-5487 with the right answer, or be the first to post us on Facebook Live at KHTS Radio, and you'll win a $25 gift card from Hanu Coffee. Good luck. All right, coming up, research says a Batman is the world's most handsome man. Plus, want to win an Oscar? What color you wear may help you in that effort. You're listening to My Radio Show with Rick Garcia.
My headlines.
Time for My Headlines, brought to you by Frontier Toyota. The Dodgers blockbuster trade with Boston for outfielder Mookie Betts and pitcher David Price hit a snag. LA was sending Alex Verdugo to the Red Sox and trading pitcher Kenta Maeda to Minnesota. The Twins would send a pitching prospect to Boston. The health of one of the players is in question. ESPN reports the deal will likely go through. The Dodgers are also about to send outfielder Jock Peterson and pitcher Ross Stripling to the Angels in return for infielder Luis Rengifo. That deal is contingent on the Dodgers-Red Sox trade going through. The Clippers have acquired forward Marcus Morris and guard Isaiah Thomas in a 3-team deal involving New York and Washington. The Clippers part ways with Mo Harkless and Jerome Robinson. And the Lakers were quiet at the NBA trade deadline. Meantime, they hosted Houston last night. Russell Westbrook poured in 41 points as the Rockets beat the Lakers 121-111. Anthony Davis had 32 points for LA.
Friday Night Lights.
Hello and welcome to Friday Night Lights on My Radio Show with Rick Garcia. This is KHTS co-sports director Wyatt Smith. And this week, we hear from Saugus basketball starting guard Nate Perez and his head coach Alfredo Manzano after their huge win over Canyon Tuesday night, 73-44. It was a slow start for the Centurions as they fell behind 10-6 in the first quarter. However, they were able to lock in and claw their way to a 4-point lead by halftime. Here's what Coach Manzano had to say about that first half.
We said before the game, it's like we have to make a conscious effort to come out and get the energy. Then we saw them in warm-ups and just kind of going through the stuff and kind of had the feeling like, hey, it might not start the way I wanted to start.
Saugus was able to do just enough to take a lead into halftime, but they weren't satisfied. Here's Perez on what his teammates had to say to each other in the locker room at half.
We just told each other we got to pick it up because we can't lose this one, so we need to start building up to go to playoffs. So we just got it together at halftime and just get going.
Perez certainly took that message to heart as he came out of halftime and dropped 21 points in the third quarter to help his team take firm control of the game.
I just have the confidence I'll go in, and my coach tells me just keep shooting that because you're on right now.
Perez went on to finish the night with 29 points and 6 rebounds, leading his team in scoring. The great performance was no fluke, though. Here's what his coach had to say about the preparation that Perez puts into his game.
I mean, the guy puts in so much work before and after, before practice, after practice, on the weekends. You kind of want to, if you're putting that much work in, you're going to let him shoot.
Saugus will hope to see some more of that explosive offense tonight in their Foothill League finale at home against Hart in a battle for second place. Tonight's other Foothill League matchups include Canyon hosting league champions Valencia and Golden Valley on the road at West Ranch. And that's this week's Friday Night Lights. Catch our segment each week on My Radio Show with Rick Garcia. And for all your Foothill League scores, recaps, and everything Santa Clarita sports, follow at KHTS Sports on Twitter, like our Facebook page, and go to hometownstation.com.
Hey, Rick, we have a winner for our free
nice.
stuff.
Oh, we love giving away free stuff. I'm glad we have a winner.
Me too. The question was, recently LeBron James passed this Laker on the NBA career scoring list to move into third place. Who did he pass? The correct answer was Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant.
And Bill from Santa Clarita won the $25 Hanu gift card.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Bill from
Congrats,
Hanu Coffee.
Bill.
Congratulations, Bill from Santa Clarita.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
In a Hollywood Minute.
I just get such a big smile every time I hear that.
That's every
time.
That's every
I was such a weirdo. I love that movie.
I just smiled because I still haven't
You've got to see
seen it.
Gladiator.
Come on, jeez.
Oh my gosh, you have to see.
You sit next to him too.
Here's a good question for you. All right, tell me who you think are among the most handsome men in the world?
Oh, Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum. Okay, that's fair. Sure.
Zac Efron.
Zac Efron.
Fair.
Nick Jonas.
Nick Jonas. Okay. How about you, Patrick?
I say Chris Pratt, Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Ryan Reynolds is my personal number
So
one.
you have a man crush on Ryan Reynolds?
Yes.
He's very funny. I love his sense of humor. I get that. All right. According to science, there was some, believe it or not, some research they did. It's a company called the Golden Ratio of Beauty, and they say, according to their research, what constitutes the perfect face has found that Batman actor, who's 33 years old, Robert Pattinson, is the most handsome man. He was 92% accurate in terms of the way they measure, and they measure based on eyes, eyebrows, nose, lips, chin, jaw, facial shape, and all that stuff. It basically goes back to the ancient Greeks' idea of perfection. So Pattinson beat out Witcher and Superman, Henry Cavill.
Aw.
Bradley Cooper was third.
Oh, what?
Brad Pitt was fourth.
Oh, my gosh.
And former winner, and he'd actually done well in several years in a row, was George Clooney. He's dropped down to fifth.
This
That's
is
just wrong.
scientific?
It would be the beauty of it is it's very subjective, don't you think? But that's according to research, what they say based on the jaw, the nose, and the
Interesting.
chin and all. You don't like?
I would like to know what they say about me.
There you have it.
32% perfect.
32 well.
I'm probably way below there.
If you ever want to get a tattoo, Anybody in the studio have a tattoo?
Oh no.
Okay.
I don't, but
I don't either.
I want one at some point.
Yeah.
Seriously? You
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay. Charlize Theron apparently was at a bachelorette party. She has her own tattoo gun. Is that what they call them? A gun? It's like a
the thing that makes the tattoos. Yeah.
Needles. It's like a So she has one, and
cool.
She likes to do tattoos, and apparently, actually, no. I'm sorry, not Charlize Theron. That was going to be next time, but I'll tell you, it was Margot Robbie. Margot Robbie, who's
Harley Quinn.
Yeah, they were both in the same movie together, Bombshell. Harley Quinn. And Margot Robbie was at a bachelorette party, and one of her friends said, "Hey," they said there was a little drinking involved. And one of her friends said, "Hey, would you draw a tattoo on me? Could you create a tattoo?" Mm-hmm. She said, "Absolutely, I'd love to." And she went and started putting on the tattoo. And after they were done, the friend said, "That's what you made?" After she looked at it, she said her friend was very disappointed, and then eventually she got over it. And Darren said she's going to hang up the
Margot Robbie.
tattoo. Margot Robbie, I'm sorry. Get a Charlize Theron story a little later on. So Margot Robbie, if you ever see her somewhere, don't ask her to put on a tattoo for you.
Noted.
All right. Yeah, I wouldn't ask any friend, would you?
No.
I don't have a friend I would ever trust.
way.
Want a professional, right? I am excited. You guys, I know we talked about this before the show. I'm really excited that there's going to be an Indiana Jones 5. The first one came out in 1981. It was Raiders of the Lost Ark. Both, I think neither one of you were here in 81. Were you?
I was not.
Thank you for reminding me how old I am. Indiana Jones 5, and it's going to star Harrison Ford again. I just love that. Now, Patrick, I know you're a little mixed on this. Harrison Ford is now 77 years old.
Yep.
They're writing the script, so he's going to be close to 80 by the time the movie's released.
Right.
I just still think he's ridiculously charming. He was wonderful in the last Star Wars that he appeared as Han Solo, right?
Yeah.
I think he was in Blade Runner to both.
Yeah,
the
he was
first
in
and
Blade Runner
the second one.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jesse? You think he's too old to be a leading man?
No, and what I love about it is, regardless of your job, I love that he's still working at 77. That's how much he loves his job, is that at that age, he still wants to be a part of it. So I say more power to him.
It's hard to do, though. There's always this sense that you age out in any business that involves a cosmetic part of the industry, whether any kind of visual medium, television, film, and so the fact that he's still working, and he always was a guy. If you ever watched some of he's done so many wonderful movies. I mean, The Fugitive was one of my favorites, but he was Indiana Jones. He was in Star Wars. It was Jack Ryan. He played a lot of the Jack Ryan movies, and just always had that intensity. The look in his face. He was always looking intense, and I always thought he pulled it off. So I'm looking forward to another Indiana Jones. I don't know why he can't still be. I'm sure they'll put some younger guy in there too,
like Shia LaBeouf last time.
I don't know if Shia will be in this one, although Shia seems to be making some sort of a comeback. So we'll see about that.
Yeah.
If you guys want to go to the theater this weekend, I was talking about Margot Robbie a moment ago. Her new movie, Birds of Prey, opens, I think it opened last night. So it's out this weekend. It is rated R. It's an action adventure, an hour and 49 minutes. Margot Robbie is in it. Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Ewan McGregor. Birds of Prey is a Suicide Squad spinoff.
Yeah.
Did either one of you see?
I did not.
I saw Suicide Squad.
And it was another different comic spinoff. It's a spinoff from Harley Quinn's character, which was in that movie. And Gotham villain in this case, Roman, puts a target on a young girl named Cass. Harley, Huntress, Black Canary, and Renee Montoya have no choice but to team up to take Roman down. And then we discussed this. Do you know I'm a big horror movie fan?
Yes,
and I don't like that.
So I assume neither one of you are going to be at this movie. I will watch it eventually. It's called The Lodge. It's rated R. It opens this weekend. It's an hour and 48 minutes. Stars Riley Keough, Alicia Silverstone, and Richard Armitage. A family retreats to the remote winter cabin over the holidays. When the father is forced to abruptly depart for work, he leaves his children in the care of his new girlfriend. A blizzard traps them. Inside the lodge, as terrifying events summon specters from the girlfriend's dark past. You guys, any of you guys want to see that?
I don't know. Actually, sounds kind of interesting.
Actually, sounds really interesting.
Not in theaters,
I like ghosts, like spooky, like horror stories like that. As long as it's not like Jaws. Like, the sharks, as you like to make fun of.
I thought you liked sharks.
You think.
No, he's got a problem with sharks. I don't know why. Again, he just watch him on the sidewalk. He's always looking over his shoulder. Sharks are in the water. Patrick, sharks are in the water.
Nowhere.
So anyway, there you go. Those are a couple of things you can do this weekend, or you can do this.
Santa Clarita Nights.
Hometown. Things to do this weekend in the Santa Clarita Valley.
Your community station. It's Benji, and here's some things to do in our valley. SCV water gardening classes. The Nights of Improv and Comedy are coming to the Canyon Theater Guild. There's an artist reception at the Old Town Newhall Library. Sister Cities. And the Santa Clarita Encore Chorale is accepting new singers through February 7th. Did you know there's even more things to do in Santa Clarita when you head to hometownstation.com and sign up for our weekly newsletter? Your hometown station.
Have you guys, either one of you, had a chance to see the new Bad Boys for Life?
Not yet, but I want to.
Now, have you seen either, again, this is, again, going back in time a little bit, the first two Bad Boys.
Yeah.
Did you have a chance to see either one?
I've seen both of them.
I have not, so you can fill me in.
It really is one of the best, I think, buddy cop franchises that's been out there. I thought one was fantastic. Two was good. I haven't seen this third one. Everybody says it may be the best yet.
Oh,
really?
Well, it set a new box office record. So a lot of people like it. It's Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, and apparently the threequel has made $291 million globally to date.
Oh my
to
gosh.
date so far, and so that's already. They just passed Bad Boys 2. Bad Boys 1 was only 141 million worldwide, but I can't wait to see it. Those two guys have great chemistry.
Yeah.
It's right in Will Smith's wheelhouse, and it's been a lot of fun to see. I didn't see any of you guys crying when you came in, so I guess you're not too concerned about Ray Donovan being canceled after 7 seasons.
That's the show with Liev Schreiber, right?
Yeah, Liev Schreiber, and I haven't seen one episode. I hear it's a wonderful show.
I hear it's good, yeah.
I never have time to binge watch, or else I would watch it.
Right.
And it's canceled after 7 seasons. Did you ever see
No.
Ray Donovan? Yeah. Here's an interesting story I thought. My son is a huge fan of the reality show Survivor. If he ever talks to you, he's going to want to tell you, he's going to want to say, Jesse, you should be a contestant on Survivor. He just loves, trying to recruit people for the show.
Yeah.
And Jeff Probst is the host of the show.
Mm-hmm.
I had a chance, because it was a CBS show, so when I was at CBS, I had a chance to interview Jeff a number of times over the years to promote the show. And this thing's been, they've done like 100 seasons. It's something,
so
now
awesome.
they do like 2 a year, so, we kid about how many seasons, but it's been on TV a long time.
Yeah.
Apparently, and again, for those of you who aren't familiar with Survivor, they throw a bunch of people on an island. They try to live together, and then they throw people off the island. And eventually you get a winner. They win like $1 million.
Yeah.
Cool. You like this? You like this?
Oh, I'm obsessed with it.
Are you really?
Yeah, it's so awesome. Like, it's so cool.
Why do you like it?
I think it's just the thrill of other people doing something I could never do. Like, they're living with nothing on this island with strangers for weeks at a time.
Yeah.
Trying to outwit, outplay, outlast. Like, it's just awesome. It's so entertaining.
But it's the quintessential backstabbing story.
And that's why I could never do it. Like, I can't lie to someone.
You can't go to one person and then go to the other?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I'm with you. I can't either. You'd have to think of it like they do. And some of them are actor wannabes, the contestants. But you have to pretend like you're acting, I guess, if you want to lie to somebody.
But then you have to be genuine enough to win over the jury at the end. It's just, it's twisted. It's
You
so
love
awesome.
it.
I do.
Yeah. You and my
Twisted,
son would just get along great on that. Jeff Probst does a wonderful job on the show. I think he's also one of the executive producers. He's 58 years old. He told Kelly Ripa and Ryan Seacrest recently that on their show that he lost his memory one day, that he came up with temporary amnesia.
Whoa.
Which is really scary. He said he remembers he all of a sudden was booking a flight, and then he said he just couldn't remember things. And so he called his wife immediately. I don't know how he remembered her number, but he said, he was asking her questions like, where are you? Where are the kids? She's like, they're in school. Where are you? I'm at my work, which is, what's going on? What are we doing right now? He said he just couldn't remember anything. He had zero recollection. And he had no idea, who he was for a moment. He said, even had to write a note on his laptop that said, for our records, I have no idea why I'm wearing these clothes. I have no idea where our kids are. I have no idea what day it is. And, he's fine now. But he said, isn't that weird?
That is
That's
scary.
so scary.
Also didn't know he was 58.
That's more surprising to you? Who cares about the amnesia? 58? What the?
Jesse just goes from like, wow, that's scary. But like, I didn't even know he's 58. Like,
I didn't.
Oh, okay.
You're more stunned by that than me. And here's the thing: you guys are still young enough to where I'm not terribly ancient, but I will tell you, there are times where you can't remember something, just one thing. It's just a phone number or what you were just getting ready to do, and it's scary.
That scares
me.
It's
a moment of things that really frighten you. So, that was an interesting story. In fact, I think Survivor. I'll bet you when does it get started again?
Oh, I should know. I don't know though. Tell us.
You want me to tell you that?
Yes, please.
We could call my son. He would tell us. It's on Wednesday. The show comes back on Wednesday. And you can start rooting against people as soon as that show comes back, right? Okay, I want to make one more sports announcement here. I'm not sure how I feel about it real quickly, and that is that Rams safety Eric Weddle has announced his retirement. It's been 13 seasons, and he had one season left on a 2-year, $10.5 million contract. Now, the truth is the Rams were going to probably replace him with one of their younger safeties, and they wanted him there to kind of be like a second coach. So I'm mixed because I think he's a really smart guy who helps younger guys. I think he has lost a step. This is a good time for him to get out, and it will save the Rams some money, which is, you hate to look at it from a business standpoint, but him retiring frees up some money for them to try to make some other deals. So that news came down, I think, last night. All right, coming up, it's been less than 2 weeks since Kobe Bryant, his daughter, and 7 others tragically perished. One of Kobe's former coaches and a former Laker, Byron Scott, is going to join us live. You're listening to My Radio Show with Rick Garcia.
My Headlines.
Time for My Headlines, brought to you by Frontier Toyota. The Dodgers' blockbuster trade with Boston for outfielder Mookie Betts and pitcher David Price hit a snag. L.A. was sending Alex Verdugo to the Red Sox and trading pitcher Kenta Maeda to Minnesota. The Twins would send a pitching prospect to Boston. The health of one of the players is apparently in question. ESPN reports the deal will likely go through. The Dodgers are also about to send outfielder Jock Peterson and pitcher Ross Stripling to the Angels in return for infielder Luis Rengifo. That deal is contingent on the Dodgers-Red Sox trade going through, of course. Meantime, the Clippers have acquired forward Marcus Morris and guard Isaiah Thomas in a 3-team deal involving New York and Washington. The Clippers, by the way, part ways with Mo Harkless and Jerome Robinson. The Lakers were quiet at the NBA trade deadline. They were hosting Houston last night. Russell Westbrook poured in 41 points as the Rockets beat the Lakers by a score of 121-111. Anthony Davis had 32 points for LA. All right, that's a My Radio Show hotline. This man played 14 years in the NBA, 11 with the Lakers. He scored over 15,000 points during his career while winning 3 NBA titles. He also coached 4 NBA teams, including the Lakers. Ladies and gentlemen, Byron Scott on My Radio Show. Hey, Byron, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Rick. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks again for joining us. And I hope you don't mind if we start with the difficult stuff first. A lot of us, I think, as we go into the future, are always going to remember where we were when we heard the news on January 26, 2020, that Kobe Bryant, his daughter, and 7 others died in that traffic helicopter crash. How did you hear the news?
Rick, I was at home sitting on the bed watching the Farmers Insurance Golf Tournament, just trying to get a glimpse of Tiger. And my wife come running in. We were getting ready. I was ready. She was getting ready for church, and she come running in screaming that Kobe had died in a helicopter accident. And I said, no. I didn't believe that. And I started surfing the channels, and obviously my phone started ringing. Started getting a lot of messages because I wasn't answering the phone. And, about an hour later or so, it was confirmed that he had, died in the helicopter accident along with Gigi and 7 other people. And I was just shocked. I was in disbelief. I was hurt. I was angry. And it just tried to go to church anyway, and then got to church and turned around and went home. I was just really I couldn't believe it. I just really couldn't believe it.
One of the reasons I wanted to talk to you is that you had the rare opportunity to both play on the same Lakers team as Kobe in 1996, his rookie year, and then you got to coach him from 2014 to 2016, which included his final season. Let's start with Kobe, the teammate. What was he like?
He was great. He was just a young kid that was trying to find his way, that was happy to be in the NBA and, fulfill a dream that he had. And, very inquisitive, asked a ton of questions. We sit on the bench together. We would sit on the bus and talk after practice. We just talked all the time. He really wanted to find out as much about the game as possible. And, we really enjoyed his rookie year. It was my last year with the Lakers, and it was his first year along with Shaq. And so we had a really good time of just getting to know each other. And I watched the kid just grow and grow every single day. And I knew, being around him in practice every day when he was 18 years old, I knew he was going to be a great player. I just knew it. I saw the work ethic. I saw his determination, and I saw it on a day-to-day basis. So I knew he was going to be great.
Former Laker Byron Scott on My Radio Show. My relationship with Kobe, Byron was strictly professional. I would have to go out and interview him. I had to do it in good times. I had to do it in bad times. So we had a reporter-athlete relationship. But my favorite experience with Kobe was my very first interview with him, and it was that rookie year that you're talking about. I remember it because we were doing the late-night newscast, and I remember the PR guy said, hey, we're going to bring Kobe over, and I looked at this kid. I thought, he just left the high school cafeteria in Lower Merion, Pennsylvania. And part of my interview, I said to him, and now you're riding Jerry Buss's limo to the game, and he's dating celebrities. And when I looked at him, he was the definition of bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. He wasn't the assassin, the killer that you remember later in his career. There was an innocence about him. Did you sense that as well?
Oh, absolutely. When I met him, he was 17. And I had the fortune of meeting him before we got on the basketball court because I met him in Orlando when the NBA used to do the rookie transitional period, and Kobe was there and I was there as well, and so I got a chance to meet him there. And yeah, very innocent, very humble, just a great kid. You could tell he was brought up right. I mean, he addressed me every day as Mr. Scott, and which was crazy to me, But yeah, he was definitely that kid that once he got to LA and got on the court and started playing basketball, he was still a kid, And like I said, he was trying to find his way in this crazy town, in this crazy league, and he was going through it every single day. But the great thing about him is that he had a vision of where he wanted to be, and you could see that in him every day as well. He was a kid, but he also knew what he wanted to do.
Let's talk about the Kobe in his prime. Now, I always felt that the Kobe would have been a great golfer or a great tennis player, an individual sport athlete. He seemed compelled to always take things into his own hands, and even at the expense of his teammates sometimes. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I think so. I think he would have definitely been a great golfer, tennis, whatever the case may be. I don't think there's a sport that he wouldn't have played and wouldn't have been great at it because of the way he went about it. He made a statement a while back, obviously way back long ago when a reporter asked him, do you trust your teammates? And he said, of course I trust them, but I trust me more. And that was just his attitude.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a guy that if you wasn't getting it done, I'll do it myself type attitude. And for the most part, he was able to do that, but obviously it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way because they misunderstood him as a player. They took that for being a ball hog and selfish, where really it's all about he just wanted to win, and he wanted to win so bad that he would do whatever it took to win.
I always wondered what it was like for Pat Riley coaching Magic Johnson. Magic was sort of a coach on the court, and then you had a chance to coach Kobe. Is there much coaching to do when it comes to a superstar?
Not really. I mean, Kobe at that time had seen and done everything that you could possibly do on a basketball court. Really, it's not coaching, it's more managing. And that's what I really consider myself at that particular stage of his career, is just, managing his time, managing his minutes, managing his practice hours and things of that nature. Because, again, those 2 years, the one thing that I wanted to do, Rick, is make sure he got to game number 82 of 2016. I wanted him to go out the same way he came in, playing the game that he loved. I didn't want him to be all banged up, so I was really just trying to manage, everything about him from a basketball standpoint to make sure that when game 82 came around in that season, his last season, that he would be relatively healthy enough to go out there and perform the way he's capable of performing. Former
Laker Byron Scott on my radio show. Byron, I think he would have continued to carve out a very successful life in retirement with his business and his philanthropic endeavors. He seemed really business savvy to me. What do you think?
Oh, he was. He was. I mean, he would, text me at 3, 4 in the morning to find out what we were doing in practice, and I would get up at 6:30, and I would call him and, say, I got your text. What's going on? He said, I'm just calling Coach to see what we're going to do today. And I said, well, don't you think you might want to call me at an hour where I might be up, instead of, 3 o'clock in the morning? And I said, do you sleep? He said, nah, I really don't, because I'm really focused on life after basketball and getting this company up and running when I'm done. And so he had already, started preparing for his second life. He started preparing for not only the business aspect of it, but as we know, with Dear Basketball and some of the other things that he was writing for children, he was preparing for also, the fatherhood and the husband aspect of it, where you're going to be home a lot more and be able to be involved in your family and kids' lives. So he was preparing for that, I think, before I even, started coaching, because the 2 years that I was there, we talked about life after basketball, some of the things that he was, involved in. And he took that just like he took basketball, very seriously, and he was going to dive into it 110% and give it everything he got. So I knew he would have been extremely successful in the business world as well.
Former Laker Byron Scott on my radio show. All right, Byron, let's change gears a little bit. The NBA trade deadline just passed yesterday. The Clippers added Marcus Morris and Isaiah Thomas, who it's expected they're going to waive. The Lakers were quiet. Are you concerned?
No, not really, Rick. I said this about 3 weeks ago on Fox, the Fox show with Undisputed. With my guys Skip and Shannon. I think they're set. I think they have a great basketball team. I think a lot of it's going to fall on AD. Whether that's good or bad. I think he's the type of guy that can carry you to a championship. And it's going to be a lot put on his shoulders. But, I said I thought they needed one more piece. I thought they needed a backup, point guard, somebody that can alleviate LeBron of having to, bring it up and initiate the offense and get everybody involved and do all those things. And I thought then that Darren Collison would be a great fit. He's a guy that plays both ends of the floor. He doesn't turn the ball over. He runs the team extremely well. He can make shots. He defends. So I mentioned that about 3 weeks ago. Now I hear everybody talking about Darren Collison right now. So, I thought it was a good fit. It doesn't cost him draft picks, or anything like that. He's basically an unrestricted free agent. He can play wherever he wants. And I still think it would be a good fit. So if Darren, came on board, I think it really enhances their chances. You're not saying he's a savior, but he is a definitely good piece to add to any team.
Well, he was sitting next to Jeannie Buss, I guess, at the arena last night in that Houston game, watching the game there. All right, Lakers currently have the second best record in the NBA. Milwaukee is ahead of them. The Clippers right behind. As we close in on the All-Star break, who's the best?
Well, I mean, if you look at the way all three of those teams are playing, Milwaukee's the best team in basketball right now, and they probably got the best player. The Greek Freak is playing unbelievable after coming off of having an MVP season. He's even playing better. His outside shot has gotten better, and I think we all agreed, last year when we talked about Giannis, is that if he gets a shot where he can rely on from 17, 18 feet on a night-to-night basis, you will not be able to guard this kid. Well, he's not only done that, he's stretched it out to the three-point line as well. So you look at the Milwaukee Bucks and their makeup and the way they play on both ends of the floor. Right now, if you're looking at these teams before this, All-Star break happens, they are the best team in basketball. But just like anything, when you get to the playoffs, everything slows down. You don't get out on the break as often. Every team has scouted you now, and they're going to take away that first, second option and make you go to their third option. So we'll see if they're going to be able to adjust better than they did last year in the playoffs. But Giannis right now is playing unbelievable basketball. So the Milwaukee Bucks are the best team, I think, in basketball right now.
All right, last two questions for you. I was told to ask you, who's the best golfer from Inglewood, you or Reggie Theus?
Oh, without a doubt, Byron Scott. Reggie's my guy, and that's my guy. I saw him on the driving range the other day. I had my granddaughters; they take lessons, so I went and said hello to him. But Reggie hits it a little bit longer than me, but my short game and putting is much better, and that's what I think separates.
Right, drive for show. Is that what they say? Putt for dough.
Drive for show, putt for dough.
All right, listen. The final thing is, did you play around the golf with my buddy George Lopez the other day?
I did.
Yeah, tell that knucklehead to return one of my texts or emails one of these days, would you? I used to run around with.
I will. George, listen, George and I are playing next week as well.
Oh, are you?
It was great that George had called me and he said, B, I know you're hurting, man, but let's get out and play around the golf. I think we both need it, and he was right. So I went out and joined him and a couple of friends of his. And it was the longest round of golf that I've ever had in my life.
Really?
And we didn't keep score because we stopped after like 7 or 8 holes at the little snack bar, and we had margaritas and cigars, and we just talked, and we let groups pass us, and then we went and we would go another 7 or 8 holes, and we passed that same bar area. We stopped again. I mean, it was the best round, the most fun I've had in a long time on the golf course, and George was George, Rick. You know him. He's going to have jokes for you. We had an unbelievable time, and I left there, and I texted him, on my way home, and I said, man, thank you so much, man. I love you, brother, and I really needed that. And he said, look, let's do it again. I said, okay. So we're going to play again next week and have some more fun. And it's, I think both our hearts won't be so heavy this time.
Oh, that's great. And you're right. It can be great therapy sometimes, right?
Yes, it can.
Until you muff up that little chip shot that's only 20 yards away, right? Then you remember what golf is all about. Ladies and gentlemen, Byron Scott on my radio show. Listen, we appreciate every time you give us the time. It means a lot to us. So, Byron Scott, thanks for hanging out with us.
Rick, anytime, my man. Thank you for having me.
Take care. Bye-bye. All right. We love a friend of the show, Byron Scott there, and he always, he always tells you what's on his mind. It's always, I love interviews like that because for my years as a reporter, I think if he asks good questions or fair questions, then all you want is just an answer of some sort. You could even tell me I don't want to answer, but he's always straightforward. So we appreciate Byron Scott. These guys. Again, my relationship with Kobe was strictly professional. I would interview him, and I was stunned like everybody else. You still have a relationship with somebody, not necessarily close all the time, but I know how much he meant to people. I saw him in the good times and bad times when I'd have to show up in the locker room. That's not easy for us as well. I would just remember when I was told, and my son said, Dad, Kobe Bryant was just killed in a helicopter crash, and I reacted like Byron. I said, don't say that. Don't talk like it. Almost as if he'd said something foul out of his mouth. It sickened me so much. And then as the news came in, and as a journalist, I waited for the sources to prove that the story was accurate. And then we knew it was accurate. It stunned everybody for such a long time. And so, and that's just me and my relationship, which was nothing like Byron had with Kobe. And so that right. I can only imagine how those guys are feeling. All right, we're going to change gears now. Coming up, how a spider named The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, could help save Australia. Plus, free burgers. It's an anti-Valentine's Day special, and we're going to give away some more free stuff. You're listening to my radio show with Rick Garcia. Welcome back to my radio show. I'm Rick Garcia. If you want to be part of the show, how do they do that, Jesse? You remember that?
Yeah, go ahead and give us a ring at 661-298-5487, or you can post us on Facebook Live at KHTS Radio.
I like that. All right, please do that. Time for Rick's Replay.
Rick's Replay.
The Lakers hosted Houston last night. The Rockets didn't start a player over 6'6", but they went on a 16-3 run late in the game. Russell Westbrook scored 41 points. Anthony Davis had 32 points, 13 rebounds. It wasn't enough. The Rockets beat the Lakers 121-111. And here's the deal. Small lineup, James Harden, Russell Westbrook. LeBron James has these thoughts.
They made a couple big shots. They had a couple turnovers. And they got a couple stops, when the game was going back and forth. So allowed them to kind of, take that, back and forth thing, and they kind of took control like in the last, 3 minutes. You just got to fly around. You got to communicate. James is going to create a lot of eyes on him because of what he's doing this year as far as scoring the basketball. But Russ, definitely did what Russ is capable of doing. And we've seen it a lot throughout his career. He was wonderful tonight.
And the Lakers will be at Golden State tomorrow night, 5:30 tip-off on Spectrum Sports Net.
News to me.
News to me now. Listen to this. With all the fires, the destructive fires have been going on in Australia. It's been a real tough time for the folks living out there. Some of the effects of that fire include the multiplying of several very lethal species, including a spider that is called a supersized funnel web spider. And they're highly venomous, and if you get bit by one, you could die if you don't treat it. And so it's been wreaking havoc. I mean, among all the things they've had to put up with the fires, they're finding all these webs all over the place of the supersized funnel web spider. They've got, you want to talk about sharks, between the sharks, the spiders, they got all kinds of critters out there in crikey, in Australia.
It's a spider.
It's especially in the Australian Reptile Park. That's an area that is the only facility in the country that milks funnel web spiders.
Wait, what?
I know you think that's funny. If you milk a rattlesnake, they don't have udders. Or if you milk a spider, you're basically removing their venom.
Okay.
They've caught this huge It was they called it a supersized funnel web spider, and they gave it a name. They have it in captivity now. They call it Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
That's awesome.
And here's the thing: they're hoping that it will save Australia. So they're milking it for the venom, and you know why they do that?
To get the anti-venom,
To
right?
create an anti-venom.
Yeah.
So they think that because of this Dwayne the Rock Johnson spider, that it's going to save lives out there.
Dwayne the Rock saving lives one day at a time.
So in Australia, like, if you smell what the Rock is cooking, apparently.
Wait, was that your Dwayne Johnson impression?
I mean, I could do better. If you smell what the Rock is cooking.
That little Frank Sinatra in that impression. I'm not sure.
Ring a ding ding.
I'm not sure what you were trying to do there, Patrick.
It was that first Rock.
Oh
don't get me with that. Come on.
Have you guys? Well, you know it's right around the corner, don't you?
Valentine's
Yeah.
Day.
Did you guys get me anything?
Sure.
Next Friday.
You have my love and devotion.
Thank you. I'll take it.
There we go.
Next Friday is Valentine's Day, and so in cooperation, I guess not cooperation, but they're Burger King now has a synergy. I'll just say that with the movie Birds of Prey, the new Margot Robbie spinoff from Suicide Squad, right. And she's Harley Quinn, of course, and so. Apparently, part of the theme in the picture is there's an anti-Valentine's Day aspect to the movie. I'm assuming that might be when she broke up with Joker. I'm not sure, but I haven't seen the movie yet. And so, in honor of the new film Birds of Prey, they have partnered up to come up with some breakup-themed boxes. So they're going to give out free Whoppers if you bring a picture of an ex to a specific location. By the way, it has to be printed. It can't be on your phone. But you can bring other things, like maybe your ex will exchange a letter with you. Could be a Dear John letter. Maybe a stuffed animal or a piece of clothing that represents your ex. And if you take it to Burger King, you will get a free Whopper out of that.
I have so many questions.
I have so many questions.
Well, let me tell you, first of all, if in the LA area, there's one at 545 North Victory Boulevard. So it's actually Burbank. Mm-hmm. So in Burbank, it'll be a valid February 14th, which is Valentine's Day. Take a token of somebody you broke up with, and you'll get a Whopper. Go ahead. What are your questions?
Okay. Well, for starters, how does Burger King know that it's real? Like, what if I take like my brother's shirt or a picture? Yeah,
they wouldn't know. Would they?
Seriously.
And also, like, if you are still not over your ex and you want a free Whopper out of giving one of their articles of clothing, then, like,
Jesse asking the real questions first.
There are some deep issues. But I mean, if you really want a free Whopper, then why not?
Well, I guess really, if it was your ex, you probably don't have anything left from them. If you don't
have like a box of. Well, you're happily married, but like Patrick, do you have a box with like stuff from your exes?
No.
Maybe that's a girl.
Is that a girl thing?
Maybe like letters and notes and. Not that I would know, but I'm assuming.
There's a great Everybody Loves Raymond episode where he finds a box of her belongings that had old letters from old boyfriends, and it just tore him apart.
Oh, maybe it is a girl thing.
I'm ready to Ray Romano. I'm That's my Ray Romano.
Was that Ray Romano?
Yeah, then I can do his.
Would you like a second opinion? Let's hear Robert.
Raymond, I don't know about this one, Raymond.
We got
Robert, what's going on?
Okay, that's better. It's getting better as you go along there. All right, so free Whopper, if that's you. And you're right, Jesse, you could probably fake it. It's probably, I think their theory is, all right, we're going to put up with this for one day out of the year, and we'll give away a lot of free Whoppers, but whoever comes in is probably going to want to buy French fries or a drink, or they'll bring other people in with them.
It's good marketing.
How would you like to have a prince and a duchess for your neighbors?
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Apparently Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are considering a move to Los Angeles. Not really a move. They live in Canada now. As you know, they ran away from the kingdom.
Yeah.
Right. And boy, has it been such a, I don't want to say a scandal, but to the Brits, that is scandalous.
Yeah.
Scandalous indeed.
Yeah, that's right. Like, hello, governor. Hello, governor. And so now they're in Canada, a Brit. By the way, we love the Brits, don't we, Patrick?
Oh, we love them, yeah.
We love the Canucks, right? They're our neighbors.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so they're thinking of buying a house in Los Angeles. Meghan Markle is from L.A.,
Yeah.
Okay, she was an actress, of course. I guess she still is an actress. I don't know if you're ever not an actress, but she's she wants to continue working, I think, and that's part of the reason they skedaddled out of Great Britain. Although they've got wonderful movie studios out there.
Yeah, they do.
I just have a feeling that they wouldn't have found it to be what's the word I'm looking for? Appropriate to be, if you're part of the royal family, to be an actor. A thespian.
A thespian.
Why not?
Yeah, so they're thinking of moving to Los Angeles, and so they would be here part-time, and then they would be in Canada the other part of the time. And here's the thing, you know, the beauty of living in Southern California, people always used to say, you know, when I was doing television news, they said, do you get recognized a lot? And I'd say, well, I get recognized, especially if I'm at a sporting event when I was in sports. But I said, it's not like when I worked in Phoenix or Albuquerque, New Mexico, where you were a star in those markets because you were the closest thing to a celebrity. I'm like, you know, in LA, if I'm at a restaurant, somebody might recognize me, but Brad Pitt could be 2 tables over. You know? I'm not going to give Rick Garcia a second look. So it wouldn't be shocking for any of us to go out into a restaurant or somewhere in LA and to run into Prince Harry one of these days.
Can you imagine?
It's a small town when you really think about it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So there you have it. You could have some new neighbors. All right. What do you say we...
Free stuff.
Give away some free stuff. The first person to call 661-298-5487 or message us on Facebook Live at KHTS Radio. And so far, I want to mention that I think the phone callers have been a little faster than the posters on Facebook. So I want to challenge you on Facebook. We've had winners on Facebook as well. The first person to either post us or call us with the right answer to my question will win a dozen bagels from Western Bagel. You guys like bagels? I love
bagels.
Cream cheese.
Cheese or onion bagels or. All right. Kobe Bryant played in his final game, NBA game, on April 13th, 2016 against the Utah Jazz. How many points did he score? Was it 50, 60, 70, or 170? Call us at 661-298-5487 or message us on Facebook Live at KHTS Radio with the right answer to my question. You will win a dozen bagels from Western Bagel. Kobe Bryant played in his final NBA game April 13th, 2016 against the Utah Jazz. How many points did he score? 50, 60, 70, or 170? Good luck. Coming up, are you ready for a new Saw movie? Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson are. Plus, if you've thought about getting a tattoo, don't ask actress. We mentioned the Margot Robbie story about that. Here's what I want to tell you. Coming up, we're going to talk about the color you need to wear if you want to win an Oscar.
Ooh.
Yeah, apparently if you want to win an Oscar, there is a color that is the most common winner.
I'll take notes.
Well, don't tell me now. I'll tell you when we come back. Time for my headlines, brought to you by Frontier Toyota. The Dodgers blockbuster trade with Boston for outfielder Mookie Betts and pitcher David Price hit a snag. LA was sending Alex Verdugo to the Red Sox and trading pitcher Kenta Maeda to Minnesota. The Twins would send a pitching prospect to Boston. The health of one of the players is apparently now in question. ESPN reports the deal will likely go through. The Dodgers were also about to send outfielder Jock Peterson and pitcher Ross Stripling to the Angels in return for infielder Luis Rengifo. That deal is contingent on the Dodgers-Red Sox trade going through, so that's being held up. The Clippers have acquired forward Marcus Morris and guard Isaiah Thomas in a 3-team deal involving New York and Washington. The Clippers part ways with Mo Harkless and Jerome Robinson. And the Lakers were quiet at the NBA trade deadline. Meantime, they hosted Houston last night. Russell Westbrook poured in 41 points as the Rockets beat the Lakers 121-111. Anthony Davis had 32 for LA. You have some news for me?
Yes, we have another winner of the dozen bagels from Western Bagel.
We had some really fast winners today.
We did.
We didn't even get a chance to sit down. So the question was, Kobe Bryant played in his final NBA game, April 13th, 2016 against the Utah Jazz. How many points did he score? The answer was 60 points, and Wes from Santa Clarita won the bagels.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
Way to go, Wes.
Yes. Excellent. Bagels, they can't go wrong with a dozen bagels.
Of course.
They don't last long, do they? I mean, what I mean by that is you eat them quick.
Oh, yeah.
You get a bagel, you eat it fast.
Of course. I mean,
have you had the bagel hole?
Do you like the bagel hole too?
Have you guys had the bagel holes?
Sure.
Yes.
You know, like donut holes with bagel holes?
It's bread. It's the same stuff.
It's way better when it's smaller and cuter.
Is it really? Oh, it's so cuter. Oh, it's so cute, those little bagel holes.
Those are bagels, man. I'll eat.
They go fast, though, man.
Are you not
entertained? Are you not entertained?
In a Hollywood Minute.
Well, everybody feeling sorry for Prince Harry and Meghan ever since they left Great Britain. We mentioned that they may be looking for a second home in Los Angeles, and they already have one in Canada. So they've been offered a home in New York. Apparently, Madonna is now a part-time realtor. I mean, not really, but she has apparently offered up her swanky New York City apartment to Meghan Markle and Prince Harry in an Instagram message. On Tuesday, she wants to know if they want to sublet it, and it's on Central Park West. Now, the only thing is, Madonna did go on to make fun of Canada a little bit. She said, don't run off to Canada. She said, it's so boring there. I'll sublet my apartment in Central Park West, she said. I don't know if she'll be touring anytime soon in Canada. What do you think?
She's going to get booed for that one a little bit.
Yeah, no kidding. No, they're nice up there. They don't care.
Just be like, oh, Madonna, yeah, oh, yeah.
Apparently, there's a trend at the Oscars that there's a certain color that the women who are competing in the many categories that they will win most often if they wear this color. Most often if they wear this color. Jesse, what do you think it is?
Gold?
Gold, okay. What do you?
I'm going to say blue.
Blue? Gold as in gold or gold lame or what? What do you think?
Oh, like Vegas gold?
Okay, I don't know. I'm just so. Those are all good guesses. But for Best Supporting Actress, the most common color that is worn when they win is black.
Hey.
Oh.
I mean,
it's a formal event.
Very,
it's a formal event.
Sleek,
but
yeah.
How about for Best Actress? What do you think?
Black?
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say black on that one too.
Are you guys? Of course, it's black.
I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The other one was black. I went with that.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah. So black is apparently the color to wear. You know, now this is clearly unscientific, but they're just saying the women who've gone up and won and accepted, they all have, or many of them.
You know how many people that wear black colored like clothing
on a formal night, especially.
Of course, yeah. So it's
no, it has to lead to the win.
The odds of it happening are pretty high.
That's it. There you go. But you know, people are superstitious. I don't know about entertainers. Some of them are.
Yeah.
But athletes are very,
very
superstitious.
Don't even get me started.
One of these days, next time we have Byron Scott, we'll ask him what some of his superstitions are because. Yeah. These guys have the greatest stories when it comes to their superstitions. Who here besides me is a fan of the franchise Saw?
No.
By myself.
No, sir. Too much.
They've done, I think, 127 of the films. No, actually, I don't know how many they've done.
I was going to say, what?
They're closing in on double digits, though, I will say that. The franchise has grossed nearly $1 billion worldwide.
Wow.
And I was close to when I said double digits. They've had 8 previous installments.
My goodness.
They've got another one that's coming out May of 2020, so May of this year. And it's going to apparently take the story in a little bit different direction because 2 fans of the franchise, one in particular, is Chris Rock, and he's starring in it.
Interesting.
Chris Rock, and this one's going to be called Saw from the book. It's from the book. It's called Spiral. Spiral from the book of Saw. Spiral from the Book of Saw. And you know who else is going to be in it? Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh,
that's going to be great.
It's going to be amazing.
First of all, two I think very funny guys. Now I know Samuel L. does a lot of good dramatic stuff.
Yeah.
But they're both very funny.
Yes.
And I can just imagine, Samuel L. Jackson going off on the villain, right?
Yeah.
We can't repeat it here.
No, we cannot.
We all know.
So May 2020 is your chance to see that. All right, everybody happy about that?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the movies that are in theaters now. If you're looking for something to do this weekend, we want to point out The Birds of Prey, which is rated R. It's an action adventure, an hour and 49 minutes. It stars Margot Robbie, who I think is wonderfully talented. Do you guys remember, what was the movie with the skater again? Tanya Harding. Oh, Margot Robbie was wonderful as Tanya Harding. And she's done so many things where she just her dramatic acting skills.
Oh yeah,
she got great chops. Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and then Ewan McGregor, who plays the villain in this movie. Birds of Prey is a Suicide Squad spinoff of Harley Quinn's character when Gotham's villain Roman puts a target on a young girl named Cass. Harley, Huntress, Black Canary, and Renee Montoya have no choice but to team up to take Roman down.
Here we go.
Oh,
there you go. And then another one, The Lodge, horror flick, rated R. I will watch this one way or the other. I don't know if I'll go see it at the theater, but I will, when it comes out on demand, I will probably be there, the front row of my couch. And watch it. It's a horror. It's an hour and 48 minutes. The cast is Riley Keough, Alicia Silverstone, Richard Armitage. A family who retreats to their remote winter cabin over the holidays when the father is forced to abruptly depart for work. He leaves his children in the care of his new girlfriend. That sounds evil already.
Yeah, it does.
But then a blizzard traps them inside the lodge as terrifying events summon specters from the girlfriend's dark past.
Ooh, I just got the chills.
There are other things to do around town if you want.
Santa Clarita Nights.
Things to do this weekend in the Santa Clarita Valley.
Your community station. It's Benji, and here's some things to do in our valley. SCV water gardening classes. The Nights of Improv and Comedy are coming to the Canyon Theater Guild. There's an artist reception at the Old Town U-Haul Library. Sister Cities. And the Santa Clarita Encore Chorale is accepting new singers through February 7th. Did you know there's even more things to do in Santa Clarita when you head to hometownstation.com and sign up for our weekly newsletter? Your hometown station.
Friday Night Lights.
Hello and welcome to Friday Night Lights on my radio show with Rick Garcia. This is KHTS co-sports director Wyatt Smith, and this week we hear from Saugus basketball starting guard Nate Perez and his head coach Alfredo Manzano after their huge win over Canyon Tuesday night, 73-44. It was a slow start for the Centurions as they fell behind 10-6 in the first quarter. However, they were able to lock in and claw their way to a 4-point lead by halftime. Here's what Coach Manzano had to say about that first half.
We said before the game, it's like we have to make a conscious effort to come out and get the energy. Then we saw them in warm-ups and just kind of going through the stuff and kind of had the feeling like, hey, it might not start the way I wanted to start.
Saugus was able to do just enough to take a lead into halftime, but they weren't satisfied. Here's Perez on what his teammates had to say to each other in the locker room at half.
We just told each other we got to pick it up because we can't lose this one because we need to start building up to go to playoffs. So we just got it together at halftime and just get there.
Perez certainly took that message to heart as he came out of halftime and dropped 21 points in the third quarter to help his team take firm control of the game.
I just have the confidence I'll go in, and my coach tells me just keep shooting that because you're on right now.
Perez went on to finish the night with 29 points and 6 rebounds, leading his team in scoring. The great performance was no fluke, though. Here's what his coach had to say about the preparation that Perez puts into his game.
I mean, the guy puts in so much work before and after, before practice, after practice, on the weekends. You kind of want to, if you're putting that much work in, you're going to let him shoot.
Saugus will hope to see some more of that explosive offense tonight in their Foothill League finale at home against Hart in a battle for second place. Tonight's other Foothill League matchups include Canyon hosting league champions Valencia and Golden Valley on the road at West Ranch. And that's this week's Friday Night Lights. Catch our segment each week on my radio show with Rick Garcia. And for all your Foothill League scores, recaps, and everything Santa Clarita sports, follow at KHTS Sports on Twitter, like our Facebook page, and go to hometownstation.com.
Patrick, when the Super Bowl rolled around, there, all kinds of Super Bowl sidebar stories. I mean, you're always looking for a different story. And there was somebody who did a story on the photography and the photographs, the historical photographs of the Kansas City Chiefs. This was an article I found by Terrace Paler in Yahoo Sports. And if you apparently walk down the halls of like a lot of teams, there'll be historic photos.
Right.
Here's one that I just was shocked when I saw it. And I remember the games. This was January 15th, 1967, and it was halftime of the very first Super Bowl.
Right.
I want to hold this up for, I'll let you put it as close to the camera as you can over there, and you can see it there. Can you see it on the monitor over there for our Facebook friends, Facebook Live?
Oh, I can see
that.
it.
That is quarterback Lenny Dawson, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Do you see what he's doing?
He looks like he's smoking a cigarette.
He's smoking a cigarette. There's a bottle of Fresca, that was a soft drink back in those days, between his legs. He's and Lenny's sitting on a chair, smoking a cigarette. I was just like, now here's the thing. Listen, in the 60s, smoking, it was a trend, a ridiculous trend that nobody knew they were killing themselves at that time. They didn't really, maybe they had an idea, but they certainly didn't, it didn't seem to stop them. And it just reminded me, I just remember the first time you went to school as a kid and then you were at the shopping mall or somewhere and you saw your teacher. And if you ever saw a teacher smoking, it would be like, oh my God. Now, it's hard to imagine athletes, smoking a cigarette. You're supposed to be in the best shape of your life, but they didn't know in the 60s. And so you can find this photograph in the halls of the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. And you could Google this and probably find it. Lenny Dawson smoking. He's a young, studly quarterback at that time, smoking it. I don't know why. That's just every time I look at that, I'm just blown away by that. Again, the way we think about our bodies now as athletes is a lot different, a far cry than it was in 1967. Thanks to our guests today, Byron Scott, former Laker, also Jesse Holland and Patrick Suika. Great seeing you guys. We're going to be with you. Aaron De La Torre is going to be coming in and playing some great music for you. Thanks for hanging with us on my radio show with Rick Garcia. We'll see you next Friday, 1 to 3. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye.